Baldur's Gate 3 is a game where you can do this, and also I saw a lot of people online try to do pacifist run.
No attack challenge.
Baldur's Gate 3, sex speedrun.
So naturally, I decided to do the exact opposite. So the problem with this challenge is you need to do everything alone, which means we need to find out which class is the best for going solo.
Ultimate solo.
Paladin is the strongest class in
Baldur's
Baldur's Gate
Gate
3.
Best class solo.
I decided to ignore all of this and go with Wizard. In our case, we are going for this. Now the only thing left to do is press this button. Oh look, a cutscene. The only thing you need to know is that we got infested with some sort of brain parasite. Also, we got kidnapped or something. I don't know. Some cute little lizards show up and start attacking this ship. In our case, we use all this happening to us as an excuse to start worshipping Khorne. Through the power of our god, we have a few bonuses. Namely, I somewhat improved nature, double actions, and also gun. We wake up in this lovely little pod. Looks comfy, but because we have ADHD, we immediately get out and start examining our surroundings. We find this. A few minutes later, we find this lady, and remember, she ignored us earlier, so naturally, she needs to die. But as we heal ourselves, we notice, so it seems like we are stuck with her. But it won't take long before we leave her to die. We enter our first combat encounter and move on to a room where this lady is stuck in another one of those pods. We try everything to kill her, but we can't get her out. The thought of a wasted opportunity to send another skull to our god causes us to first scream in anger and then murder two innocent people through the power of technology. After another successful donation to our god, we move on just to find Tentacle Boy over here fighting a demon! But we all know demons aren't real, and he seems to be the lesser evil here, so he dies. At this point, two of his friends show up because they didn't appreciate us shooting their friend in the head with a magic gun. Now the problem here is that we only have this many turns until the ship crashes and we all die, but the solution is exactly that. So after getting destroyed repeatedly, we snap and crash the ship to kill everyone on it. Sadly, through some sort of magic, we survive and now need to deal with the consequences. Mainly getting the tadpole out of her head and walking.
All my homies hate walking.
After a few meters, we meet an angry lady banging on the locked door.
They can't hold forever. Come on.
We find out that she's the one we couldn't kill earlier, so of course, she finally gets the honor to serve our lord. After also banging on the locked door, we get bored and start looting the corpse of every human being in a 5-kilometer radius. We find one of the tentacle boys that gave us the head worm and thank him accordingly. Next, we find a hand.
A hand? Anyone?
Our two brain cells work together for once and decide that where there's a hand, there also might be a killable human. So after pulling out a purple man from the portal, he gets it. For the first time, our killing seems to have some sort of consequence, because the dead wizard just comes back.
I am a magical projection of Gale of Waterdeep, and if you see this manifestation, that means I have prematurely perished.
He tells us that first, he's very important.
Many lives depend on my return to the living within the span of 2 days.
And second, he has a scroll that can resurrect him. But first we
Must answer me these questions three.
Of course, we want a scroll for ourselves, so we first have an aneurysm, and then actually manage to solve the riddle, which rewards us with a scroll of true resurrection. We quickly leave the corpse of the wizard due to very bad smell and find ourselves on top of the hill with a door. A few bandits are looking around the ruins. They don't seem very friendly, although we didn't ask them, and instead decided to cave their skulls in with a big rock. Their friends didn't like this and attacked us. It went as well as you might expect. After we're done with them, we gaslight their friend into opening the door for us. At this point, we are tired because of all the hard work we did that day. After a good night's rest,
You have been enslaved like your ancestors. Rage sparks
stripped, raw, and restless, you find no peace that night.
We decide to investigate the hole we created. We find ourselves in some sort of cellar. We hear voices on the other side of the door and decide to open it. A grave mistake for them. We scour the catacombs for loot and come across a door that can't be opened.
No handle. How does it open?
After a lot of time of being angry at a piece of wood, we calm down and leave the place just to find Shrek. Never mind, it's just a woman from the ship. We start to worry that a lot more people survived the crash than we had hoped. We need to be more careful in the future. For now, we content ourselves with... As we loot Shrek, we find big burning sword and use it to go back and proceed to Hulk smash the door without lock. Behind it we find our death. But also our death. This old leather bag.
Worth of a single mortal life.
We, of course, try to kill him, but he seems unfazed by literally everything. We decide to leave him alone because he is already dead and head up back to the surface again. We are out of spells again though, so we go to camp to rest for the night. Quite surprised, we find the dead man in camp and ask him if he cares to explain why he is there.
No.
Out of anger, we decide to freeze him to death, which has about the same effect as grabbing him with a high voltage taser. He calls us crazy and we head to bed, internally screaming of anger for the night. The next morning, we find some sort of overgrown gate. A fight ensues as goblins attack the gate. The goblins kill one of the tieflings, which causes us to, again, become furiously angry at the thought of this so-called kill steal. As everyone starts clubbing each other to death, we get to the high ground and do what Obi-Wan did to Anakin that one time on vacation. After we burn them all to a crisp, we go and investigate what's behind the gate. We meet Zevlor.
Aradin didn't make it. Thank you for your help out there.
From him, we learn that he and his people are being banished from this grove by the druids that live here.
The druids are forcing everyone out.
He tells me to go talk to Kaga,
Korga, their new first druid. Perhaps you could persuade her.
unaware that he just asked not a wolf but a Tyrannosaurus Rex disguised as a sheep for help. All of the people in this grove are sheep, and we are hungry. So we go and talk to Kaga,
Cast out every stranger.
watch her
The
murder
snake's
an
hiss
innocent
of
child,
approval reveals its intentions. Should the child struggle, it is poised to strike.
and then proceed to start a civil war by killing her and her friends. As we leave the cave, we find that the druids have left to slaughter the tieflings. We steal a green glowing statue because it looks valuable and proceed to follow the noise of dying people. We help both factions in killing each other. A group of tieflings kills the last druid with their bare hands, which we watch in amusement. The tieflings won, but they haven't survived yet. Of course, they don't know that, but before we proceed to commit genocide, we rest. But as it turns out, we shouldn't have ignored the voicemail of the dead wizard, and he was in fact very important to some people. More specific, the entire world.
The sun is now dead.
And thus ends the story of our hero, at least for now. But surely enough, the Blood God will scream again, demanding more skulls for his throne. So please, if you enjoyed this video, consider sharing it with friends, and also consider subscribing to not miss the next part of our journey, where we resurrect Gale, proceed to slaughter entire factions, and maybe murder Gale again at the end.